a female who loves to work out, the same as me, and who notices, well, perhaps certain times, wow, that weight feels really heavy versus last week I was weightlifting and it wasn't so heavy. Or you're running and a run becomes really, really difficult and you don't understand why when normally you can do it. If that's the case, it may mean that you're not working out in coherence with where you are in your cycle. And it can be very difficult as women to schedule workout plans that are incongruent with where we lie in the month and how our hormones can play into effect with what we should be doing in terms of our activity or exercise level. So today, what we're going to be talking about is how you can plan or how you can schedule a workout routine around your cycle. Because most of the times we tend to do the same things as men in that we have a routine and we do it every single week, or we do an 8-week program and we completely forget that we have a whole different cyclical pattern of hormones that affects our body a lot differently than men. So we really shouldn't be working out to the same frequency schedule as male counterparts. So understanding that is going to help us determine, well, how can we set up a 28-day program that is going to be realistic to our needs as a woman, and also help us not hit certain plateaus if our goals are weight loss or muscle strength or endurance, whatever our goals may be as women. If we're not paying attention to our hormones, we're going to completely miss the mark. Hi, I'm Dr. Amanda, and this is Freely Shine with Dr. Amanda, where every single Friday we release new wellness content on a variety of different topics, all geared to educating you on how you can be the healthiest, most vibrant version of yourself and shine from the inside out. We don't need more external things. We don't need more drugs, no more surgeries. We simply need more of you shining at 100%. So we're going to talk about setting up that 28-day workout plan around your cycle. Now, let's begin with a couple of principles to understand before we dive into how to set up your own 28-day cycle. The first thing is, if you are a female who is on any form of hormonal birth control, you do not have a regular 28-day cycle. Your cycle is artificial as a result of the hormones that you are taking every single day. So this doesn't necessarily apply to you. I am going to do a talk on hormonal birth control and how it affects our body and whether or not it may be the right option for every single female. The second nuance I want to mention is the fact that not every female has a 28-day cycle. You may have a 30-day, 31. It can vary from female to female. So when you're setting up your workout plan, basically you can follow along with where I schedule the phases, but you may be a little different from day to day, and you should adjust accordingly if you do have a longer or shorter cycle. The third thing I want to mention is that you may be a woman who does not have a very consistent regular cycle. If that is the case, still think you should follow along and create a 28-day cycle for your workout schedules, because this can help you to reset your period and to get your period back on a more consistent schedule. Because if you're working out not in congruence with your hormones, that could be a reason why you don't have a regular period. So resetting your workout schedule to work with your period and your hormones can help bring balance to your body and hopefully bring you back into accordance with that natural cycle. We really start to dive into setting up your own 28-day workout plan. Let's understand how the cycle works. A lot of times we forget how important our cycle is to us as females. So if you're in cyclical age, between the age of menstruation beginning, which could be 12 to 16 years old, depending, all the way up to 45, 50 is where perimenopause may start, 55 to when menopause begins. So wherever you may be in your cyclical years, this is going to be really important for you. Once you hit menopause, you can actually work out in more coherent, more consistently with the same recommendations that are given for men, because you don't have those cyclical hormones the same way as you used to. Now, when it comes to the cycle, it does vary, as I've mentioned before. So when we set up our schedule, you want to really start with where you lie in through your period. So day 1 is your bleed. So the first bleed, once you bleed, that's going to be your day 1, and then you can set up your schedule of workouts accordingly. Day 1, you bleed. That stage of your cycle, your menstruation, can last anywhere from 3 to 5 days. And then after that, you enter what's called your follicular stage, which means your estrogen levels are starting to climb until you get to ovulation, which could be around day 11 to day 15. Ovulation is when estrogen spikes, and then you release an egg. And then at the end of ovulation, as your hormones start to come back down, estrogen starts to come back down, there's a little period of low hormones between during your luteal phase, and then all of a sudden progesterone and estrogen, they start to climb back up. And this is in the week before your period, so about day 20 to day 28, where progesterone's really starting to climb. And that's definitely the part of your cycle that you want to be most particular about your workout schedule. But as that progesterone starts to climb, that's the time where if you were to have a fertilized egg, progesterone keeps that uterine lining thick. So if there is no fertilized egg at day 28, progesterone drops, and that's when your period begins again, and the uterine lining is excreted because there was no fertilized egg. Progesterone didn't stay high, so you didn't maintain that fertilized egg to create an embryo, and thus you are pregnant, right? So understanding how those cycles work is important, because as females, we are not the same on day 1 as we are on day 22, or on day 27, or on day 15 when we're ovulating. We're different throughout our cycles because of the way the hormones react with our bodies. So let's set up our 28-day plan. Now, day 1, period starts. Day 1 to day 4, day 5, when we have our period, really it's about listening to your body. Your hormone levels are low at this stage, so you can actually handle some stress on the body. It's not going to overtax you. However, this tends to be the time of the cycle where still yoga, rest, Pilates, walking, maybe some hiking, not overly strenuous cardio is where you're going to be the most comfortable, okay? And then around day 4, day 5, this is when you can really start to ramp it up. This is when you can start adding some longer running, or some HIIT workouts, or some circuit training, or some things that are a little more taxing on the body from about day 4 to about day 10. Then day 10 to day 15, this is when you're in your ovulation phase. This is when estrogen peaks, testosterone peaks. So this is like you're a powerful woman at this time. Like you should be the strongest at this point in your workout cycle. So when you are doing this means that this is when you want to program in more of your weight training, more of your stronger lifts if you like lifting, because this is going to help you build muscle mass or muscle tone. So during that ovulation phase, hits are great, strenuous, stressful, long endurance type activities are great, as well as really pushing the envelope on terms of your strength training, because your body is going to be stronger at this phase in your cycle. Now, day 15, after ovulation and estrogen comes back down, your hormone levels are going to be low again from about day 15 to about day 20. So overall, at this phase, again, you should be pretty okay to do most things, from even doing some light running to some any type of strength, yoga, Pilates. Those are all going to be excellent. You might not want to do so much long endurance cardio at this phase to overstress the body, simply because we're getting into that last stage in the cycle, that week before your period, where we're starting to create progesterone, where our body is more susceptible to stress. So again, day 16 to day 20, this is when you want to schedule in anything from strength training is great, to light running, to walking and yoga and Pilates. Now, day 21 to day 28, that last week before your period hits, this is where you really want to make sure that you're not doing any exercise that overtaxes your body. You do not want to spike cortisol or stress hormone, because that competes with the creation of progesterone, and that will shut off progesterone. So you want to make sure that you're having a good amount of progesterone spiked in through that last week of your cycle. A lot of times, if we are someone who deals with a lot of menstrual cramps or PMS type symptoms, it's the result of low progesterone levels. Of your cycle, you want to keep progesterone happy, you want to keep your heart rate low when you're doing certain activities. So making sure that whatever exercise you're doing, as long as you can talk through it, that's probably a safe bet that you're not overstraining your heart rate. And don't do it for too long of a period. So no endurance type exercises during this 7-day phase of your cycle. So this is where yoga, Pilates, walking, some gentle hiking is okay, depending on how you hike. Some of the hiking that we do around here in New Hampshire can be fairly strenuous, so be cognizant about what type of hiking you're doing. But anyways, you really want to be really aware of how your body feels. You will feel more tired during this phase of your cycle, and that's okay. Listen to your body. Don't think that you need to be doing all-out workouts every single day of your cycle, because simply your body was not made to do that. And that's okay. We have to give ourselves a little bit of grace. And I think there's been so much shame around females and exercise, and we have to be really diligent every single day and stay in the routine and be consistent, which is true. We should be consistent, and we should be aware of how our body is going to react to different types of exercise, especially for females. If you are working out too hard in that second half of your cycle and you have too much stress hormone, this is actually going to cause you to gain weight, because your body is going to retain fat and retain water because it's in that survival mode, which that typically is going against whatever our goals are as females. And as young women or as young athletes, a lot of times we're not taught how important our cycle is for how we train. And I think this is a huge gap in our education for young women. And even as you get older, I know when I learned about all these concepts, I was just blown away, because I was like, why did no one ever tell me about this? Instead, I just would go through different times in the cycle where I would feel like absolute crap and think that I wasn't working out hard enough when I started to gain more weight instead of lose weight, even though I thought that I was doing everything I could. So understanding that as women, we have been blessed. It is not a curse. It is a blessing to have cycle of hormones. It is so cool what our body is capable of. And if we can use those hormones to our advantage and work out smart, we can actually get the results that we want a lot faster than we would if we completely ignore our cycle. So especially for us females who experience this beautiful cycle, let's make sure that we're using it to our advantage. What I'm going to do for all of you is I do have attached a link to my 28-day workout program that you can get for free, and it's really neat and handy, and it goes through everything we talked about today, and it gives you the ideas for different workouts that you can do on each day of your cycle. And it's something that you can personalize to yourself, again, starting day one, whenever your period starts. Thank you so much for getting to this part in the video with me. I really hope that you're empowered to take control of your cycle moving forward, because it is not a curse, it is a blessing. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and feel free to subscribe to my channel, where I will be doing more content just like this in the future. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you shine on today. Bye-bye.